Folks, I'm Ken Rowland, and I'm really excited tonight to be able to be on this call and be able to hear the life story of somebody that I've known for a long time. You know, I always say this, if there was a Network Marketers Hall of Fame, Mr. Dayle Maloney would be the first one inducted. So, you know, back a few years ago, I went over to Wisconsin and spent a few days with Dayle, you know, just to watch him and know him and learn from him. And I'll tell you, I was really excited on how he deals with people and how he makes friends. People come and travel a long way just to see and be with Dayle Maloney. So whenever you start to hear somebody like Dayle, you might you might know that they're very successful, and maybe you don't know exactly. You can't figure out what it is that makes somebody and to be successful, highly successful. Well, here's the one thing I want you to realize. You can see where people are at, but you don't know where they came from. You don't know their desire. You don't know what motivates people, what inspires people. And so we're privileged to be able to hear Dayle Maloney tell his story, how he started, all the challenges he had in life, what he had to overcome to have the success that he's having today. He paid a price, but as he says, it's a price that he's glad he paid because he has helped so many people. So, folks, it's my privilege to be able to introduce you to Mr. Dayle Maloney. Dayle, are you there?
Hey, Ken, I'm here, and I really want to thank you for having me on the call. I appreciate the chance to be on this call tonight. And I hope the people out there got their pens and paper ready because, Ken, you and I have both been in this business a long time, and we always say experience is expensive. Don't buy it twice. So hopefully you'll get some good tips here tonight. But, yeah, Ken, I did. I experienced a real tough childhood, but, you know, it was a blessing. It got me ready for success. I came from a family with an alcoholic father. He'd get drunk 2 or 3 times a day, mother who was sick all the time, and really, at age 14, I was pretty much on my own. In fact, I was out picking weeds in strawberry patches just to get something to eat, working in a concession stand, a vendor at concession stands at the fair, anything. In fact, Ken, we were so poor, even the poor folks thought we were poor. But you know what? I learned 2 major lessons in that early childhood time that have really been with me for the rest of my life. Number 1, I learned you can't control where you come from, but you got a lot to say about where you're going. The other thing I learned, which has been with me to this day, is I learned to live on 6 words. Don't ever learn how to quit. I tell you, that's the 6 words that's kept me going all the way to where we are today. And, you know, I needed those things because I had a couple of real big challenges in high school time, right after high school. When I was a freshman in high school, I decided to try to be the valedictorian of my graduating class because the valedictorian of the class got to give the major speech at graduation. I thought, man, would that be neat? So for 4 years, I worked hard trying to be the valedictorian of my class. Guess what? I was a valedictorian. But I get called into the superintendent's office, and he tells me they're going to make a change that year. The valedictorian would not get to speak. I know what it was. My father had caused lots of problems to be at the ball games, to make a fool of himself, lots of things. But it's interesting. The class before me, the valedictorian got to speak. The class after me. Only 1 year the valedictorian didn't get to speak. Boy, I tell you, that hurt. But, you know, I had 2 nieces and a nephew that got to give valedictorian speeches at Mondovi High School later, so that kind of made up for it. But I never forgot that. I carried the 1952 graduation program in my briefcase. I carried my 1953 program in my briefcase in the 54. It'll always be a reminder. But the second thing that happened, I'm just getting out of high school, going to go to the University of Wisconsin to try to become a coach, and I come down with polio. 18 years old, from a little tiny town in Wisconsin. I've got polio, the last big epidemic. The doctor comes in and tells me, young man, you're never going to walk again. You know what I said to him? You're telling that to the wrong guy. I worked as hard as I could work, take extra hot packs, extra treatments, because I wanted to walk out of that place. 13 months later, I had Canadian walking sticks that had braces, but I walked out of that place. I had proved the doctor wrong. I also had a lot of eye problems. I lost my right eye with a bad retina. Left eye, I've had problems. Now I've got a cataract there. Have very poor vision. But I always say, I feel sorry for the people who have sight but no vision. And I want people to know one thing, Ken, as we get going here tonight. I'm not a big shot. Hey, I'm a little shot who keeps on shooting every single day. I'm just an average guy with unaverage dreams. But you know what happened to me? Success came too easy. I didn't appreciate it. And all of a sudden, at age 43, I'd had a racetrack, lost a lot of money, a motor speedway. I tried to make it all back with a big success rally in one day and lost another $100,000. Anyway, I ended up, age 43, $350,000 in debt. But I always told my wife, hey, we're not broke, we're just temporarily out of money. Can you imagine $350,000 in debt? Plus, I had a car with almost 400,000 miles on it. I'm not sure how many, because the speedometer didn't work the last year or so. The car was a four-door, only two doors would open. Had one wired shut, one glued shut. I always said it was a two-tone, red and rust. And when I filled up the gas tank, it doubled the value of the car. But here was the feature of that old car. It was so old, I'd worn a hole in the floorboard right by the brake pedal. A hole. I could look right out and see daylight. Kind of neat. Go to McDonald's, drive-through, get a black coffee. Didn't feel like drinking it all. Just poured out the hole, kept right on going. But the other thing that happened, here I was, $350,000 in debt, that old car, and my wife and I get evicted from our apartment, couldn't pay a $425 a month rent. We had to move in with my mother-in-law back here in Wisconsin. And I was haunted by the debt. I somehow wanted to get out underneath the bondage of debt. I hadn't borrowed the money to keep it. I'd borrowed it to pay it back. And I tried working a job, a job, for 3 years, trying to pay back the money. I couldn't even keep up with the interest. That's when I realized JOB stands for jump out of bed or just over broke. So I decided I better take a look at network marketing, home-based business industry. As I looked at it, two things just jumped out and hit me. Number one, they said to duplicate your time and effort through other people. You get a few people involved and help those people, you get paid on all the other people as well. Wow. The second thing that hit me was residual income. Get paid every time they buy. Hey, I had to pinch myself. Man, duplicate yourself through other people, plus get paid every time they buy. Holy smokes. How could it get any better? And believe me, you got to have a why you're doing the business. Well, I had three big whys to do the business. I want to get off underneath the bondage of debt. I want to get out of my mother-in-law's house. And I wanted to get a different car. So I had some big whys to do the business. Now, I don't know what your why is, but you're on the line tonight. You've got a why you're in Marinda and doing this network marketing business. That maybe you want to make more money. You want to put your kids through a better school. You may want, travel or time freedom, whatever. But the key is, the day I started in network marketing, I made a commitment to myself that I would never, ever quit. I would live by those 6 words, don't ever learn how to quit. I'm asking you to do the same thing tonight. You will never quit Marinda Bioactive, and you'll never learn how to quit. Now, I didn't know what I was doing, so I invited 30 people to a meeting in my mother-in-law's lower level. I didn't sleep the night before because I couldn't figure out where in the world I was going to be able to seat 30 people. Most I could figure out was how to get about 18 in there. Well, I shouldn't have worried about it. Only 2 showed up. 2. And I was nervous. I just got started with my meeting. The one man said, "Is the bathroom handy?" I said, "Yeah, it's the top of the steps." He never came back. He went up steps, got in his car, and left. The other guy had a million questions, and he had no interest. So I'm batting zero. So I try a second home meeting. Invited a bunch of people again. This time only one shows up. Young fellow who worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I believe he came right from work. He still had the T-shirt on, said, "We make chicken better." He had that Colonel Sanders hat on, you know. And he got my mother-in-law's house, the whole house smelling, you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken. My wife wouldn't come to the meeting. She locked herself in the bedroom upstairs. But anyway, this guy didn't have a clue, and he had a car without a muffler. He could hear him coming and hear him going a long ways away. But he leaves. My wife comes out and starts sniffing. She says, "Oh, good. Smells like you got out and picked up some chicken." I said, "Well, that's the guy that just left." So 2 home meetings failed. Then I tried a motel meeting. Ran an ad in the paper. They said they'd bill me for the ad. Didn't have any money, so I ran an ad in the paper. I thought, gosh, you want an ad, that'll fill up the room. We all know that doesn't work. It's word of mouth that gets people to come to a meeting. But anyway, it was a 7:30 meeting to Holiday Inn in Eau Claire. About 7:15, a lady shows up, got the paper, and so I had 18 chairs in the room, 3 rows of 3 on each side. She sat in the back row. That's where they all sit, of course. And about 7:30, ready to start, she's the only one there. I said, "If you don't mind, I'd like to wait just a little bit. I've heard traffic's kind of bad in the South End." She said, "That's where I've come from. There's no traffic at all." I said, "Well, they told me front desk kind of a lot of cars." She said, "But go ahead and wait." So I waited about 10 minutes. And wow, here comes a second lady. She's got the ad, too. So she takes a seat back in that same row. They're back in the back row. And man, am I excited. I got 2 people there, and my arms are going. I'm really letting them have both barrels. All of a sudden, they quit listening. The 2 ladies started talking to each other. They weren't listening to me. What had happened, the first lady had gotten sick. She'd asked the second lady if she'd take her home. So they both get up and leave, and there I sit with an empty room. Now, I had to make an 18-mile drive back to where my mother-in-law lived, and I'm telling you what, I'm glad I'd made a commitment to never quit. Don't ever learn how to quit, because that's what kept me going that night. So I'm still batting zero. I decided to make up a prospect list. Told my wife that's what I was going to do, and she said, "Well, wait a minute. Before you do that, don't want you talking to anybody who we've ever been to school with, no relatives, of course, nobody from our church." She said, "No neighbors. In fact," she said, "I don't want you to talk to anybody who lives within 100 miles where we live." Hey, I didn't care. I was going for it. But here's the key, folks. I had 168 no's before I got my first yes. You heard it right. 168 no's before I got the first yes. Every time I got a no, I just told myself, "Hey, man, you're 1 no closer to the first yes." Well, then my first check finally comes. I finally got a check. Now, remember, I'm $350,000 in debt, driving this old car, living with my mother-in-law. I get my first check. It's $5.66. My wife was crying. My mother-in-law almost had a breakdown. My wife said, "I don't care how we budget, we aren't going to make it." But see, I had made up my mind I was never going to quit. The second check got a little bit bigger, and I learned to know right then and there that the height of my success was going to be determined by the depth of my commitment. I was just going to keep on keeping on. And, of course, quite often it's your best friends and your relatives that say no. I mean, I used to always have a little joke about relatives. I said, one thing about relatives, they make good practice because they're usually quite negative. All my years network marketing, only one relative, only one, has ever followed me into the business. But he's been a good one. It's my nephew by the name of Tracy Turnberg. He's a $1 million earner, of course, in a $1 million career club in Morinda. But anyway, you're going to find, too, folks, those checks didn't come big right off the bat. But you're going to find personal growth is always going to occur before financial growth. And when you're telling people what you're going to do in this business, they laugh at you. I used to say to them, "Hey, don't judge my future destination by my present location." So important. And remember this, failure is not important unless it's the last time you're ever going to try. But you know what? Ken called me back it was June or July of 1996. And he told me about Tahitian Only International, getting ready to start up, and he wanted me to join him, become a distributor with him. IPC and T. Shononi. I said no. A couple of reasons. My check in another program was running between $150,000 and $160,000 a month. But also, he was telling me about T. Shononi juice. I thought, how in the world can that one juice work for so many different things? So I said no to him. I said no. But here's the key. Listen closely. Ken Rowland kept dripping on me. He kept in contact. Once or twice a year, I'd hear from Ken Rowland. You know what? Man, he was telling me the numbers, they were growing like crazy. And, about sometimes once a year, but anyway, every now and then, Ken would call. He kept dripping on me. So important. You have to do that. And just like with your prospect list, you have to have a prospect list. And when you put names on the prospect list, you never get the final no. There's only two ways a prospect gets off your prospect list. Number one, if they join Morindo Bioactive, become an IPC, you cross them off the prospect list. The only other way they get off, if you see their obituary in the local paper. Other than that, they stay on that prospect list. So it's so important. But see, here's what happened then. I said no to Ken in 1996 and 97, 98. Every year I'd say no to him, but he kept ripping. But back in the year 2000, I got the polio back again. A lot of folks getting it back. Second time around, it's called the post-polio syndrome. And then by May of 2002, I'm told by two major clinics that there's nothing more they can do, that I'm going to be bound, tied to a wheelchair by Christmas of 2002. Now, with that kind of news, you'd try anything. So I called up Ken, and I said, I'd like to try some juice. I called him in May of 2002. I got the juice in an absolute miracle. Within about 60 days, my legs starting to loosen up. Hey, I haven't had to go with that wheelchair to this day. I use a scooter around big events. Other than that, I walk around, I'm around town and walking with a cane. But it's just amazing what the product did. And so I met Ken out at Morindo in July of 2002 and got involved with him because the product changed my life forever. Not only did it keep me out of the wheelchair from the post-polio, dropped my blood pressure 60 points, got me off 4 medications, dropped my cholesterol 40 points. My A1C blood sugar went from 7.1 to 5.3. No more gout. Used to have gout bad. No more gout. Glaucoma pressure problem in my left eye. Pressure went from 30, where they wanted to operate, to a perfect 16. Started to sleep better. Got more energy, mental clarity, stress buster. Tahitian noni juice changed my life forever. So I joined on September 9th, 2002. Now, I had some folks to bring with me, so this isn't, don't think you're going to do this overnight. I've been in this industry over 30 years, but I think we can jade in a couple hours and pearl in a couple of days. But I still, to this day, have the pedal to the metal with Morindo Bioactives. And I'm telling you, folks, now is the best time there has ever been to join Morindo Bioactives. As this emerging bioactive beverage industry really takes shape, you couldn't get a better time than right now to get involved. Fortunes were made by IPCs who joined back in July of 1996. But I tell you what, I believe bigger fortunes will be made by those joining now than were made by the folks who joined back in 1996. And I predict that the top 10 IPCs in this company 5 years from now, none of them have even heard of Morindo Bioactive yet. Morindo Bioactives is going to create a historic retention rate. And you see, retention is what leads to multi-generation residual income. I'm telling you, my friends, residual income is nothing but a myth in most other companies out there today. But we offer in this program real multi-generation residual income. I hope you know how to spell residual. Write it down. Here's how you spell residual. R-E-T-E-N-T-I-O-N. Retention is what creates and builds residual income. And when you understand that Marinda Bioactives has a 100% 90-day money-back guarantee, and here's the key, the customer is the judge. I call it our empty bottle guarantee. I use that little slogan, empty bottle guarantee, and it works well for me. You may want to try it. Here's an example how good this product is. I've had a booth at the Minnesota State Fair now for 8 years, and we've picked up hundreds of customers over those years. In 8 years, we've had 3 people ask for a refund. 3 people in 8 years. These are the greatest products in the history of the network marketing industry. As I say, they've changed my life forever. And use these third-party testimonies. Use my testimony. People want to hear testimonies. This is definitely a product-driven opportunity with the best compensation plan in the industry. 53% payout with no breakage. The money gets paid out because of dynamic compression. It is the best. You just can't beat it, folks. And I've learned over the years that there's no-shows and there's no-shows. Here's what a no-show is. If I came out to your home to do a home meeting and you'd invited 3 couples and I had arrived near their door and said, "Oh, Dayle, all 3 couples have canceled out." That's a no-show home meeting. Now, here's a no-show home meeting. If I came out to your home to do that home meeting and you aren't even home, now it's a no-show home meeting. I've had 3 of them. The first one, brand new in the business, had never sponsored anybody yet. Guy told me to come to his house tonight. He'd have a few people over, look at what I was doing. He didn't want to get involved, but he'd ask the people over there. I arrived about 7:15. The porch light's on. I started walking towards the house. The porch light goes out. That's funny. I go up and ring the doorbell and say, "Shh, shh." They're all sitting in there quiet. That's called a no-show meeting. Remember, some will, some won't. So what? Next. You just move on to the next. And remember, he who shows the plan the most wins. And remember these 5, write these 5, put the letter M down 5 times in a row. M, 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 M. More meetings means more money. And get excited about sponsoring. People want to be around excited people. The only folks I find can't sponsor are the ones they walk around look like they've been weaned on a dill pickle. You got to get excited. Because remember, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. You know, they always used to say, even a blind squirrel is going to find an acorn once in a while. Just keep on talking to people. Then we always get the excuse, well, nobody's got any money. The economy's bad. There's no money out there. Saturday, turn on the college football games. Every stadium is full. 70, 80, 90,000 people. Look at the NFL games on Sunday. Every stadium is full. Folks, there's money out there. Lots of folks got the money. Go by the casinos. The parking lots are full. There's plenty of money out there. We just got to keep talking to the right people. Now, I like the Max Business Pack. That's the one I like. But, hey, if you like the Fit Pack, the 5-pack, whatever it is you like, whatever your prospect likes, that's what you do. But also remember, every bottle counts. I like customers as well because I love that 20% retailer's bonus in our comp plan. I like customers. Hey, I tell them, let your friends, neighbors, relatives, co-workers, let people buy the product wholesale. Everybody likes a wholesale deal. Let them buy it wholesale under your ID number. You just tell those people, hey, here's my catalog, look through it. You want to buy something? Simply call 800-445-2969 and give them my IPC number, and they can buy everything they want. They're happy about wholesale, but you're happy too because you made 20%. You know, the retailer's bonus. I've got folks make $1,000 a month just on people buying under their IPC number. But remember, they're not all going to They don't all join when you talk to them, but they don't all buy products as customers either. That's why I always say the road to success is always under construction. Few more keys to success before we finish up. Again, that prospect list. You have to have a prospect list written down and add names to it weekly, daily if you can. I still add names to a prospect list almost every day. Another key to success, you got to believe it before you see it. People say, well, I'm going to get in, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to see if it'll work. It don't work that way. You got to believe it before you see it. When I got that $5.66 check, I wasn't seeing it, but I was believing it. Believe it before you see it. Another key to success, don't ever learn how to quit. I've hit you with that one before. And don't give it what you got. Give it whatever it takes. Remember that one. Don't give it what you got. Give it whatever it takes. My grandmother used to tell me you can't drown in your own sweat. She also had another one I liked, hard work is a yeast that raises the dough. And there are no shortcuts in this business. You spell luck, W-O-R-K. The harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. One more little key to success. Don't prejudge anybody. I don't think anybody would have thought I was a prospect when I first took a look at this industry. Don't prejudge anybody. If they can fog a mirror, bring them into Marindo Bioactives. See, it's not who you know that counts, it's who they know that counts. Remember, a small hinge can open a big door. And I like going after small storefront merchants. In today's economy, they are good prospects because they got a warm market walking in their front door all day long. I like small restaurant owners where the owner is working there, knows the customers by their first name, small saloons, whatever. And I have two key phrases for these small storefront merchants. I said, I'd like to talk to you about increasing your revenue with no extra overhead. That's what they're looking for. Increase the revenue with no extra overhead. And also, what I'm going to show you is an opportunity to earn franchise income without franchise investment. And get in front of new people every week. Start showing at different shows. Look in your shop or your paper, you'll see them. Holiday bazaars, craft and art shows, health fairs, a women's night out, women's expo, flea markets, antique shows, tractor pulls. Get in front of people. I like state fairs, county fairs. I like fairs because they're a good bang for the buck. You get to talk to a lot of people for not a lot of money. See, all we are is paid storytellers. We're out there earning thank you checks, just telling a story. Marindo Bioactive. We're all natural-born networkers. We never used to get paid for it. You recommend somebody to go to a certain restaurant because you got a good cheeseburger, or you recommend a movie. Hey, they go to the movie or they eat cheeseburger. You don't get anything from the merchant. So we've all been networking all the time. And just a couple more little things as we close out the call. I've been talking too long tonight, but I saw this written on a wall in a truck stop in Amarillo, Texas, years ago. Never forgot it. It said, if you continue to do what you have always done, you will continue to get what you have always got. Is it enough? Only you can answer that. I had it on my little business card. If you continue to do what you have always done, you will continue to get what you have always got. Is it enough? It's got me a lot of business. Just like on my business card, I used to, after my name, it said Dayle Maloney, DMN. They'd always say, well, Dayle, what does the DMN stand for? I just say it don't mean nothing. But it got him in a good mood and got him talking. And folks, remember, by being in Marindo Bioactives, you can make a difference in other people's lives. Yes, every single person on this call tonight can make a difference. If you think you're too small to make a difference, you have never been a bed of the mosquito, I'll tell you that. And anybody can do this business. You could do the business. I have showed this plan to lots of people. And I have never showed the plan to anybody who couldn't do it. I've showed it to a lot of people who wouldn't do it, but I've never showed the plan to anybody who couldn't do it. And another little slogan I've always had with me and I've always remembered was, you run with the runners, you walk with the walkers, but don't sit with the sitters. And if you aren't growing, you aren't showing. It's that simple. Two little closing comments. You'll never discover the best in life until you discover the best in you. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. You know, and you can use most any measure when you're speaking of success. You can measure it in a fancy house, expensive car, or dress, but the measure of your real success is one you cannot spin. It's the way your child describes you when talking to a friend. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all here tonight. And Ken Rowland, I appreciate you for being in there and dripping on me back all the way from 1996 to 2002. Without you dripping on me, I wouldn't be on this call tonight. I would have missed Brenda Bioactives. That has changed my life forever. So thank you, Ken, for having me as a guest on the call tonight.
Dayle, thank you for being here, and everybody, we're all excited about Dayle Maloney, and so get back with the person that you had on the call and let them know what a great opportunity we have. And Dayle, thank you very much for being on here.
You bet. Thank you, Ken.